Anytime my friend Rick comes, he says his favorite part is when I'm just making noises and talking about the weather. Here we go.
That's what my friend Brian always said.
Yeah, people just like when I'm just talking about anything that doesn't have to do with what I'm supposed to be talking about. I also realized, he'll like this, I realized that I have this thing where like all week I'm wearing basically the same like overshirt or sweatshirt. Yeah. I like to keep the weeks. Someone's here. I think that's you.
No, actually, I haven't signed in yet.
So, we'll get through it. All right, this is our last day of the week with Netzach, and I cannot believe another week. Someday, I'm going to have to reflect on this time and think about what time felt like. It's so different to just the timing of things and what time you do things and how you think about time. And I don't know. The thing about time is that time isn't really real, as James Taylor said. And it really doesn't seem real at this time. But we're all good. Today is a special day because it's Netzach within Netzach. Enduring within enduring. Victory within victory. And it really makes me think about, at the beginning of the week I got this list of words that mean two things that are exact opposites. And one of the words was to endure. Because enduring is this idea of kind of making it through for a long period of time, and yet to endure something is to be in a place where you needed to struggle to get through it. And I think both of those ways of thinking about this word are incredibly true for this time of all of our lives. We have had to endure over the last now 14 months. And in order to do that, we needed to have things in our life that were enduring. I actually believe our meditation that we've done, we really only had 1 week maybe 2 weeks over the entire year where we didn't do these meditations together. And that was one of the things that for me helped me to make it through or endure the past 14 months. Now, there's a lot of things that we might say have done that for us. Maybe you took up poetry. Maybe you started writing in a journal. Maybe you started doing art or started reading different books. Maybe you started watching more movies. I don't know, whatever it is. But each of us, I think, in our own way, found something to kind of bring us through this time so that we could endure it. Wonder what that is for you, to think about that. Was there something that allowed you to endure this time, and we're still in it? It's a little bit like at the very beginning I talked about sablanut, which is patience, right? And patience is living with pain, living with suffering. That's what patience is. And this, in the same way, right? Enduring what we have to endure is a similar concept to me, right? Is if we've had this difficult time, that we had to find something that helped us get through it. Patience is almost like, okay, I know it's there, but I have to kind of live with it. Enduring during when you need to endure something, to me, is this is how I made it through it. I think that might be the difference. The things I did to allow the time to pass. Interesting that I started talking about time at the beginning. I wasn't counting on that. What we did to make this time that was so different pass. So there are, as usual, several different ways to think about Netzach shebenetzach, enduring victory within victory. One is to check in and really see how enduring those things you think are enduring are. to determine whether those things really have been carrying you or if it's just you think they have. But there was an incredible thing I read in neochassid.org, which is a Martin Buber quote. And unfortunately, it's on my phone, so I can't quote it exactly. But I read through it several times, and Martin Buber, who is the great existentialist from the 20th century, German existentialist, and I have to tell this story. Martin Buber was my grandfather's librettist, and they used to go back and forth and correspond with each other. And incidentally, we also had a chair at my house in our living room called the Buber chair, because Martin Buber sat in that chair. I had that in college as well. But when my daughter was born and we named her Sila, we found a correspondence between Martin Buber and my grandfather that was about the meaning of the word Selah in the Psalms. And we discovered there that it actually meant a musical interlude. This is a huge digression, but it's about Martin Buber, and I just like to say my grandfather knew him. I don't know why, maybe it gives me nachas. So,
your mother might be listening.
My mother might be listening, that's true. So Martin Buber says there are 3 spheres of relations in our lives. The first is our relation to nature. The threshold for that relationship, says Buber, is language. We don't speak, well, we might speak to nature, but it's not speaking back to us in language that we understand. Bear me out. The second one is relations with people. And that's language, right? There's language between the 2 people, and that's how they communicate, and that's how people relate to each other. The third is relating to spiritual beings, as it were, or the spiritual world, or spiritual nature. And that one doesn't have language, says Buber, but we create that language. So we have nature, which has no language. We have relationships with human beings. That's where language exists. And then there's this relationship with kind of not the supernatural, but the spiritual sphere. And in there we create a language. It's like it's its own language, but it is not one like when we speak with human beings. And in all of those, and this is where Netzach comes in, he says, in all of those, our eye is towards the eternal you. The eternal you, really in this language, is God. And I think what it's saying is, in our relations, we're yearning for a spiritual dimension that brings us closer to the eternal one. And the most fascinating part is, at the end, he says, when you can relate to something or someone perfectly, you enter into the place of real life. And that all the gates of how you entered into that realm disappear. It's just life. And it doesn't matter where you came from, you're ending up in that place of the eternal you. In other words, when we have relations with either nature or people or spiritual realm that we're actually relating to in the most intimate way, where we're not asking anything from the other is asking nothing from us, that's the eternal one. And how you got there doesn't matter. You are existing in what is true, deep life. What I love about it is it makes our relations with things, that's what's enduring. That's what's eternal. And that it is through our relation with others, through your relation with any other person, your relation through nature, your relation through any kind of spiritual being or spiritual place, that can bring you to life. And life is that eternal essence. Netzach Shebenetzach. Let's get ourselves ready for our stillness time. There is a book, by the way, called The Art of Stillness that I recommend that people read. I think I read it last year during the quarantine. It's all about a guy who goes to visit Leonard Cohen, thank you. He goes to visit Leonard Cohen, who was living basically in the mountains outside of Los Angeles. He was like a servant to some guru, or he was helping him out, and he was just basically living in this place in complete silence. And it just gives an idea of how stillness can help us in our lives. We're going to take 20 minutes and be still at this point. Get yourself into a comfortable yet relaxed position. We're just breathing, feeling the breath in our body, and allowing things to be as they are for now. Allowing things to be as they are for now. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to solve any problems. Just need to be. Of course, your mind will take you away from breathing. Probably the moment we began. Try to find your way back without judgment, with chesed, with loving kindness. Just bring yourself back to your breath and the feeling in your body. Find the tensions there. Try to release them with your breath. Sometimes I find it helpful to also think about my heartbeat at the end of my breath. Sometimes it kind of comes in there and I get into a rhythm of breath and heartbeat and breath and heartbeat. Paying attention to my body as a still being. last 5 minutes or so together, we turn towards manifesting some feelings. It's Thursday, with the anticipation of Shabbat and the joy of Shabbat. May I feel joy. May I feel whole. We end our week in a feeling that our bodies and our souls are aligned. Who we are on the outside and who we are on the inside is aligned. And we feel a wholeness, that we are full. Sometimes that leads to joy. Sometimes feeling joy leads to wholeness. But for sure, it's our hope that we feel whole, not in pieces, that we feel whole and not divided, that we feel tiferet, balanced, and we feel that we are enduring, which is its own wholeness. May I feel joy. May I feel whole. May I feel whole. May I feel joy. Say it aloud, whisper it, say it to yourself on each breath. May I feel joy. May I feel whole. May I feel joy. May I feel whole. If you'd like to invite someone for just a couple of breaths to be in your mind's eye right now, you can offer them joy, offer them wholeness. May you feel joy. May you feel whole. May you feel joy. May you feel whole. May you feel joy and may you feel whole. May you feel joy. May you feel whole. And just one more breath there, and then we can bring it back to ourselves. May I feel whole. May I feel joy. May I feel whole. May I feel joy. Stay there for a couple of breaths. And now let's just bring ourselves back to our breath, back to being, back to stillness for just one last moment. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you were able to find stillness and peace. I hope that you are able to enjoy your Netzach Shebenetzach, and that you feel joy, and that you feel whole. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful Shabbat, and we will see you next week. Take care.